Hey everybody. Uh, Wanted to recap the first round, a little bit of the NBA playoffs, because so it just ended and we're getting started with the second round. So I really wanted to talk about what we saw in the first round because I thought for the most part everybody we thought was gonna win won, um, and it's not even for the most part. It's pretty much every so the top four seats in both conferences moved on. Um, I think for me, the one that surprised me the most was probably that Dallas beat Utah because Luka Doncic was injured most of that series, and Utah still couldn't get it done. Um, so that was pretty surprising to me, and it kind of shows again. Um, I think this got to fall back on Quinn Snyder, the Jazz's coach, because I think he just is not. Like he's just not. It's just not getting it done. Like he's got to either pull Gobert or figure out something out, but you can't leave guys wide open. Um, but give Dallas credit. They played a really good defense. I thought Brunson just was huge, and then Doncic came back at the end. So that series was interesting. I thought it was a little bit surprising. The other one was obviously the Brooklyn Boston. I don't think anybody expected a 4-0 sweep. I mean, maybe some people did. I saw it as a pretty close series, but it wasn't because Boston's defense was very, very good, and Brooklyn's defense was terrible. Um, you know, I think Boston isn't a great team offensively, but I think when you've got Tatum, Jalen Brown, and those type of guys, Horford, even Robert Williams came back at the end. I thought that was crucial. Um, when you got Marcus Smart, when you get those type of players and they're being guarded by Dragic, Stephen Curry, um, Kyrie Irving, I mean, such short guys like Patty Mills, that you're just gonna have no chance, and that's what happened because Boston just had way more size, and you know, Durant was just. I mean, Durant should have played better for sure. I think he should have played better, but he was harassed the whole time. Um, they were throwing two, three guys at him, and they were throwing size and strength, and his jump shot wasn't really falling. So it was a very bad series for Durant. I thought it was a worse series for Irving because outside of game one, he didn't do anything, and he's the guy who's supposed to take off pressure off Kevin Durant when a whole defense focalizes on him, like he did in game one. And I don't know if it was because of fasting or Ramadan and all that, but he just looked like he didn't have a lot of energy. Um, so I thought Brooklyn was just way undersized, and when they did put size on, like Nick Claxton, the guy can hit his free throws, or they were just kind of like guys like Blake Griffin who just can't, they can't really cover on the perimeter whatsoever. They can't play defense on the perimeter, so um, they can even play LaMarcus Aldridge. Andre Drummond was very limited. So if you got a center that doesn't move well, it's very difficult in today's league. Yeah, and Utah's learning that too. So yeah. Um, the other series I want to talk about was Raptors Sixers. That was another series I thought was going to be close, but then obviously when it was 3-0, it was pretty much over. But the Raptors still won two games and made it somewhat interesting. But I think the injuries that the Raptors had, whether it was Van Vliet, Scott Barnes for parts of it, Gary Trent for parts of it, I just think like if Toronto had been completely healthy, they would have had a shot. But um, so that played a big deal, and the Embiid injury, I think at the end of that series in the last game, I think is devastating for the Sixers. I hope he comes back soon, but even missing two games, um, against Miami, um, yeah, it's gonna be really really tough. So, um, yeah, that I think the other thing is James Harden. Like he played pretty well in that last game in Game 7, so I'll give him credit for that. But I just don't see him, and I just don't see enough. And a lot of people are talking about how he's lost a step. So um, it just really looks like that. So um, yeah, so that's serious. And then going back on the Brooklyn Boston series a little bit, I thought Robert Williams coming back was a big deal. It made an impact. And then Brooklyn, obviously Ben Simmons with the reports, he was coming back, and then he doesn't come back. I thought that hurt Brooklyn too. That he didn't contribute at all, because his size on defense would have helped, because he's a guy who does have size and can move his feet on defense, which is something, again, Brooklyn did not have. So um, yeah, the Ben Simmons. I'm not going to talk too much about it, but the Ben Simmons story is just crazy, because it's like you get this feeling that there's kind of this psychological block. And although, I mean, honestly, throwing him um, into that Boston series in the playoff middle, I mean, it's crazy. Like, the guy hasn't played in a year, so it's pretty intense. I don't blame him for not wanting to play, but um, I just the back injury thing. Like, I just don't understand how he hasn't played in a year. We haven't heard of any injuries in practice. And if you're Brooklyn, if you don't think you get Ben Simmons back fairly quickly after that deal, I don't get why you make this deal. You'd rather have Harden, even if he's disgruntled. You just tell him, hey, look, we're gonna keep you for the end of the year, and then we'll trade you. We just need you for the playoff run, because we can't get anybody even close to your equivalency for the rest of the year. Um, yeah, that was just ridiculous. Because if you had Ben Simmons in that deal and you get nothing out of him, I mean, Brooklyn was just in deep, deep waters. And you know, Durant, I felt, was like, Durant's getting a lot of criticism, and I think rightly, because I think he's in that conversation for best player in the league. But man, he just got no help. And Kyrie too. Um, like Kyrie's the guy who's supposed to step up, and he didn't, and then you had nobody else. And so, I mean, the other role players, Seth Curry, Dragic, Patty, I mean, they played their part, but it's like they can only do so much. Like, you needed another guy beside Durant who was going to create shots. And yeah, Irving really disappointed me, because he just kind of disappeared, which is just strange. So so those series is the Phoenix um, Pelicans series. I thought was a lot closer than people thought it was going to be. I think Phoenix took him a little lightly, and also the Devin Booker injury. Um, so I think that's going to be the key for the Suns. I really like the Suns, but Devin Booker, can he stay healthy? Um, a hamstring injury. I mean, the other thing with these playoffs, man, there are so many injuries. I just can't explain all the injuries. I mean, there's so many injuries, and you'd think with all the training methods and all that there would be just less injuries. It's crazy. I mean, there's way more injuries than I think there was in the '90s. And yeah, so I don't know. It's weird. But yeah, Phoenix, 4-2. I thought they did a good job um, without Devin Booker, because I thought they were in trouble without Booker, and they were in trouble for a few games, but they pulled it out. The other series obviously was Memphis Timberwolves. I thought that was again a lot closer than I thought it would be. I know Minnesota's talented, but they're not a very smart basketball team, and I thought Memphis would really, you know, I thought it was going to be a 4-1 Memphis win. And yeah, I thought Timberwolves played every game close. It felt like they had their chance. So um, yeah, Memphis showed their limits a little bit, and then I'm kind of worried about them going forwards. Then obviously the Warriors look really good. Jordan Poole just looked like he was out of this world. Um, Clay slowly coming back. I still don't think he's the same Clay as before, but he's close, and I think he'll be there next year. But I still think there's a little missing. But he was very, very good in that first round. Very, very good. I think defensively is where I see the problems, and he's picking up a lot of fouls. So I don't know if that's the refereeing or what. We'll talk more about it in the next video. But anyways, the Warriors did the job. Let me see if I'm forgetting anybody here. Um, yeah, I mean, obviously the Bucks took care of business. We'll talk about it more in the next video. But Giannis is the best player in this league right now. I think until I see anything different for the remaining of these playoffs, he just seems like the guy to beat. But yeah, they took care of Chicago. Um, yeah, so that's about all I wanted to say about the first round. Um, I thought Utah was by far my most disappointing team. I mean, you had a real shot. Like you had a real shot to beat Dallas, and um, for the coaching, the the team. I mean, Utah had way more talent. There's just no excuse for. Um, yeah, I think there's no excuse for not going through. So I don't know what kind of offseason adjustments they're going to be able to make, but they got to change something. I think the rock of that team is Donovan Mitchell, but I think Rudy Gobert's role is going to be really interesting going forward. So anyway, that's it for the first round. I want to talk about the second round in the next video, so stay tuned. Bye, guys.